The Discovery captain Elena Rodriguez stood at the observation deck of the exploration vessel Horizon Walker, watching the stars drift past the reinforced windows. She had been patrolling the outer edges of human space for 3 weeks now, following the same routes her predecessors had taken for the past 50 years. The mission was simple: watch for alien activity and report anything unusual back to Earth Command. Elena was 38 years old and had spent half her life in space. She commanded a crew of 25 people aboard the Horizon Walker, a mid-sized exploration ship that served as humanity's eyes and ears in the vast emptiness between star systems. The ship was well armed for its size, but Elena knew that if they encountered a hostile alien force, their best option would be to run and send a warning back to the colonies. "Captain, we're picking up something strange on the long-range sensors," called Lieutenant James Chun from his position at the science station. Chun was Elena's most trusted officer, a brilliant young man who had graduated at the top of his class from the Naval Academy on Mars. Elena walked over to examine Chun's display. The readings showed energy signatures coming from a region of space that was supposed to be empty. According to their star charts, there was nothing in that direction except the void between galaxies. "How far out are these readings?" Elena asked. "About 6 light hours from our current position," Chun replied. "The energy patterns are unlike anything in our database, Captain. They're massive, but very faint, as if something enormous is running on minimal power." Elena felt a familiar tingle of excitement. In her years of exploration, she had discovered 3 new planetary systems and made first contact with 2 peaceful alien species. But something about these readings felt different, more significant than her previous discoveries. "Set course for the energy source," Elena ordered. "Maximum safe speed." The Horizon Walker turned toward the mysterious signals and began accelerating. Elena knew they were heading into uncharted territory, but that was exactly why she had joined the exploration. Service. Humanity had been expanding into the galaxy for 200 years, establishing colonies on hundreds of worlds. But there were still so many mysteries waiting to be uncovered. As they traveled toward the energy source, Elena reviewed what she knew about this region of space. It was located in the neutral zone, a buffer area between human space and the territories controlled by the 3 major alien powers: the Vorthan Empire, the Krallic Swarm, and the Nexer Coalition. These 3 species had formed an alliance called the Dominion 50 years ago, supposedly to maintain peace in the galaxy, but Elena suspected their true purpose was to limit human expansion. After 8 hours of travel, the Horizon Walker reached the coordinates where the energy readings originated. What they found defied explanation. Floating in the darkness of space were 5 objects that looked exactly like planets, but they were in the middle of nowhere, with no star to orbit around. "Run a detailed scan of those objects," Elena ordered. Chun worked at his station for several minutes before looking up with a confused expression. "Captain, these readings don't make sense. The objects have the mass and composition of terrestrial planets, but they're generating energy signatures that match fusion reactors. Very large fusion reactors." Elena stared at the objects on the main screen. They looked like normal planets. One appeared to have oceans and continents. Another was covered in what looked like ice, and a third seemed to be a desert world. But planets didn't generate fusion energy, and they certainly didn't float in empty space without a sun to orbit. "Could they be artificial?" Elena asked. "The mass readings suggest they're real planets, Captain, but the energy signatures indicate advanced technology. It's as if someone took actual planets and installed massive power systems inside them." Before Elena could respond, the ship's communication system activated. "Captain Rodriguez, this is Earth Command Priority 1. You are ordered to maintain your current position and prepare for an encrypted transmission. Elena felt her stomach drop. Priority 1 communications were reserved for the most serious situations: war, alien invasion, or threats to human survival. She had never received a Priority 1 message in her entire career. Acknowledged, Earth Command. Standing by for transmission. The main screen flickered and was replaced by the face of Admiral Marcus Webb, the head of Earth's Deep Space Defense Force. Elena had met Webb once before at a military ceremony, but she had never spoken with him directly. The Admiral was a man in his 60s with gray hair and eyes that had seen too much of war. "Captain Rodriguez," Webb began, his voice heavy with the weight of secrets. "What you have discovered is classified at the highest levels of government. I'm about to tell you something that will change everything you think you know about humanity's place in the galaxy." Elena felt her crew watching her, but she kept her eyes fixed on the Admiral's face. "The objects you're looking at are not natural planets," Webb continued. "They are weapons. The most powerful weapons ever created by any species in known history. For the past 300 years, humanity has been secretly converting planets into starships. What you see before you are 5 of our Titan-class planet ships." Elena felt as if someone had struck her in the chest. Planet-sized starships? It seemed impossible, but the energy readings suddenly made perfect sense. "Sir, how is this possible?" Elena managed to ask. "We start with planets that are already lifeless, or nearly so," Webb explained. "We hollow out the interior, leaving only a shell thick enough to maintain structural integrity. Inside, we install fusion reactors, weapon systems, manufacturing facilities, and everything needed to support a crew of 50,000 people. The exterior is camouflaged to look like a natural world." Elena looked at the objects on her screen with new understanding. What she had thought were continents and oceans were actually elaborate disguises hiding weapons that could destroy entire fleets. "How many of these Titan ships exist?" Elena asked. 15, Webb replied. "Scattered throughout human space and beyond, hidden in locations where no one would think to look. Each one is capable of defeating an entire alien fleet by itself." Elena felt overwhelmed by the implications. If humanity possessed 15 planet-sized warships, they were not the weak, scattered species that the galaxy believed them to be. They were potentially the most powerful military force that had ever existed. "Admiral, why are you telling me this now?" Elena asked. Webb's expression darkened. "Because the Dominion Alliance has issued an ultimatum. They want us to abandon all our colonies outside the original 12 systems where humans first developed space travel. They believe we're weak and scattered, easy prey for their combined fleets. They've given us 72 hours to comply, or they'll use force to remove us from what they consider to be their territory." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. The Dominion Alliance controlled thousands of star systems and had military forces that numbered in the millions of ships. Even with 15 planet-sized weapons, could humanity stand against such overwhelming numbers? "What are your orders, Admiral?" Elena asked. "You're going to witness the awakening of Titan Prime," Webb said. "The planet you see with the blue oceans is actually the command ship of our entire fleet. Captain Sarah Mitchell has been its commander for the past 10 years, waiting for the day when humanity would need to reveal its true strength." As Webb spoke, Elena noticed that one of the planets on her screen was beginning to change. The blue oceans were draining away, revealing that they had been artificial all along. Beneath the fake water, massive structures were emerging, weapons platforms, hangar bays, and communication arrays that dwarfed anything Elena had ever seen. "The galaxy thinks humanity hides in fear," Webb said as they watched the transformation. "They're about to learn that we don't hide, we prepare." Mountains on the planet's surface split open like flowers blooming, revealing weapons that could crack moons in half. Continents shifted and rearranged themselves into launch bays capable of deploying thousands of fighters simultaneously. The North Polar ice cap turned out to be a massive sensor array that could detect ships across multiple star systems. "My God," whispered Lieutenant Chun. "It's not a planet at all. It's a fortress." Elena watched in awe as more sections of the planet revealed their true purpose. What had appeared to be a chain of islands was actually a manufacturing complex that could build entire fleets of warships. A mountain range transformed into a communication center capable of coordinating military operations across the galaxy. "Captain Rodriguez," Admiral Webb said, "I'm placing you under direct command of the Titan fleet. Your ship will serve as a scout and liaison vessel. You're about to become part of the most important military operation in human history." Elena nodded, though she felt overwhelmed by the responsibility. "What about the other Titans, Admiral?" "They're all awakening as we speak," Webb replied. "Titan Forge will begin manufacturing new ships and weapons. Titan Storm specializes in environmental warfare. They can alter the weather on entire worlds. Titan Void is designed for stealth operations and intelligence gathering. Each one has a specific role to play in what's coming." The communication from Earth Command ended, leaving Alana and her crew staring at the transformed planet before them. What had looked like a peaceful world just minutes ago was now clearly revealed as the ultimate weapon of war. "Captain," Sean said quietly, "are we really going to fight the entire Dominion Alliance?" Elena looked at the massive weapons emerging from Titan Prime's surface. Humanity had spent 3 centuries preparing for this moment, building weapons in secret, while the galaxy believed them to be weak and scattered. The aliens had made a critical mistake. They had given humanity time to prepare. "No, Lieutenant," Elena replied. "We're not going to fight them. We're going to show them what happens when you threaten humanity's future." The transformation of Titan Prime was nearly complete. Where once there had been a planet with blue oceans and green continents, there was now obviously a ship of unimaginable power. Weapons that could destroy entire fleets pointed toward the stars. Hangar bays large enough to launch invasion forces opened like the mouths of vast caves. Elena knew that similar transformations were taking place at 14 other locations throughout the galaxy. The Dominion Alliance had expected to face scattered human colonies defended by small fleets of conventional warships. Instead, they were about to encounter the most powerful weapons ever created. The sleeping giants were awakening, and the galaxy would never be the same. The galaxy learns Fear Supreme Commander. Ziktar floated in his energy chamber aboard the Vorthan flagship Eternal Radiance, watching as his fleet of 800 ships moved toward human space. The Vorthans were beings of pure energy who had transcended physical form millions of years ago, and Ziktar was one of their greatest military leaders. He had conquered 17 different species and brought order to hundreds of star systems. The human colonies would fall within days, he was certain. His scouts had reported that the humans possessed only small fleets of primitive ships scattered across their territory. The Vorthans alone could handle this task, but the Dominion Alliance had decided to make an example of humanity. 3 massive fleets were converging on human space to demonstrate what happened to species that defied the established order. "Commander," pulsed his tactical officer, a younger energy being named Velton, "we are approaching the outer human colonies. Our sensors detect minimal defensive activity." Ziktar's energy form brightened with satisfaction. The humans were not even attempting to defend themselves. Perhaps they would surrender without a fight, though that would be less satisfying then. A proper conquest. Meanwhile, in a different sector of space, Hive Queen Zealandra commanded the Kralek swarm's contribution to the invasion force. The Kraleks were an insectoid species that thought and acted as a collective mind, and Zealandra controlled 1,200 bioships grown rather than built. Each ship was a living creature capable of reproducing and evolving during battle. Queen's massive form filled the command chamber of her flagship, a creature the size of a small moon, with weapons that had been bred rather than manufactured. Around her, thousands of smaller Krolix drones worked at living control systems, their minds linked directly to hers. The human colonies show no signs of military buildup, reported one of her drones through their mental connection. They're defensive. Fleets are hiding in deep space, probably hoping to avoid confrontation. Gilandra's mandibles clicked with amusement. The humans would learn that there was no hiding from the swarm. Her bioships could track prey across vast distances, and her warrior drones would strip human worlds bare of all life. The Third Fleet belonged to the Nexer Coalition, led by Fleet Master Torvek from the bridge of his super dreadnought Infinite Horizon. The Nexer were a highly advanced species that had developed technology far beyond what most galactic civilizations possessed. Their 600 ships were equipped with weapons that could manipulate space and time itself. Torvek stood before a holographic display showing the positions of all 3 invasion fleets. He was a tall, slender being with metallic skin and eyes that glowed with internal light. Like his fellow commanders, he expected the humans to surrender quickly once they realized the futility of resistance. "Fleet Master," reported his science officer, "we are detecting unusual energy readings from several locations in human space. The patterns are unfamiliar." Torvik studied the sensor data with interest. The energy signatures were indeed strange. Too large to be coming from normal starships, but not matching any known alien technology. Perhaps the humans had developed some new type of weapon in their desperation. "Maintain course," Torvik ordered. "Whatever the humans have built, it cannot stand against the combined might of the Dominion Alliance." "Back aboard Titan Prime, Captain." Elena Rodriguez stood in the massive command center that had been hidden beneath the planet's artificial surface. The chamber was enormous, easily large enough to hold a dozen normal starships, and filled with thousands of control stations operated by crew members from all corners of human space. Webb had transported to Titan Prime to personally oversee the coming battle, and he now stood beside Elena, watching the tactical displays that showed the approaching alien fleets. The holographic map of the galaxy was dotted with red markers, indicating enemy positions, and blue markers showing the locations of the 15 Titan ships. "Admiral," reported Commander Sarah Mitchell, the captain of Titan Prime, "all Titan ships are fully operational and in position. We are ready to engage on your orders." Elena marveled at the coordination required to hide 15 planet-sized ships for centuries while preparing for this moment. The logistics alone must have involved millions of people, all keeping the secret. That would determine humanity's survival. "The Vorthan fleet will reach the Kepler system in 6 hours," Webb announced to the assembled commanders. "That's where we'll make our first stand. Captain Rodriguez, I want you to take the Horizon Walker and serve as our forward observer. Stay at maximum sensor range and record everything that happens." Elena nodded and prepared to return to her ship. As she walked through the corridors of Titan Prime, she was amazed by the scale of everything around her. The hallways were wide enough for vehicles to drive through, the ceilings high enough to fly aircraft beneath them. This wasn't just a ship, it was a mobile world, complete with cities, factories, and everything needed to support its massive crew. 6 hours later, the moment of truth arrived. The Vorthan fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler system, expecting to find human colonies defended by a few dozen small warships. Instead, they found themselves facing something that defied belief. ****. Titan Prime hung in space like a mechanical planet, its surface bristling with weapons the size of skyscrapers. Massive turrets tracked the incoming alien ships, while launch bays opened to reveal fighter formations that numbered in the thousands. The planet's artificial atmosphere glowed with the energy of weapons charging to full power. "This is impossible," pulsed Velton, as the Vorthan fleet tried to make sense of what they were seeing. No species has the technology to build ships of this size. Supreme Commander Zektar's energy form flickered with uncertainty. In all his centuries of warfare, he had never encountered anything like the massive vessel before them. His fleet of 800 ships suddenly seemed inadequate compared to the weapons pointing in their direction. "Open a communication channel," Zektar ordered. "Demand their immediate surrender." The response came not from Titan Prime, but from a smaller human ship that had been hidden behind the planet ship. Elena's voice echoed across the Vorthan fleet's communication systems, calm and clear despite the enormous stakes. "This is Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Terran Defense Force. You have entered human territory with hostile intent. You have one opportunity to withdraw your forces and return to Dominion space. If you choose to continue your attack, you will face the consequences." Zektar's form blazed with indignation. How dare these primitive humans threaten the mighty Vorthan Empire? His fleet had conquered species far more advanced than humanity could ever hope to become. "Human vessel," Zektar transmitted back. "You are outnumbered 800 to 1. Surrender immediately or be destroyed." Elena's response was swift and decisive. "Admiral Webb, you are cleared to engage." What happened next would be remembered throughout the galaxy for centuries to come. Titan Prime's main weapon, a cannon that used the planet's core as a focusing chamber, fired a single shot that tore through space itself. The beam of pure energy struck the Vorthan flagship and simply erased it from existence. One moment the eternal radiance was leading the enemy fleet. The next moment there was nothing but empty space and a slowly expanding cloud of particles. The remaining Vorthan ships broke formation and attempted to flee, but Titan Prime's secondary weapons were already tracking them. Turrets the size of small mountains fired continuously, each shot destroying multiple enemy vessels. Fighter squadrons launched from the planet ship's bays and swarmed through the Vorthan fleet like angry insects, their weapons picking off the surviving energy beings one by one. The battle lasted exactly 14 minutes. When it was over, 799 Vorthan ships had been destroyed. Only one vessel escaped to carry word of humanity's true strength back to the Dominion Alliance. Similar scenes played out across human space as the other Titan ships engaged the remaining invasion fleets. The Krolek swarm encountered Titan Hive in the Proxima system and learned what happened when humans applied their understanding of biology to warfare. The living alien ships found themselves infected by human-designed viruses that turned their own biological systems against them. Hive. Queen Zelandra watched in horror as her carefully bred fleet began to mutate and die. The humans had somehow weaponized evolution itself, creating organisms that could adapt faster than the Krolek's bioships could develop defenses. "Retreat," she commanded through the swarm's mental connection. "All ships withdraw immediately." But it was too late for most of her fleet. Only 200 of her 1,200 ships managed to escape the biological plague that Titan Hive had unleashed upon them. The Nexer Coalition's advanced technology fared no better against humanity's planet ships. Fleet Master Torvik's super dreadnought was vaporized by a weapon that folded space around it, crushing the massive vessel down to the size of a marble in seconds. His remaining ships found themselves outmatched by human technology that they had never imagined could exist. Within 24 hours of the first engagement, all 3 alien fleets had been destroyed or routed. The Dominion Alliance's carefully planned invasion had turned into the worst military disaster in galactic history. Elena stood on the bridge of her ship, watching as the debris from the Vorthan fleet drifted past her sensors. She felt no satisfaction in the victory, only relief that humanity had survived its greatest test. "Captain," Admiral Webb's voice came over the communication system, "please report to Titan Prime for debriefing." Elena transported back to the massive command center, where the planet ship's senior officers were analyzing the battle results. The holographic displays now showed a very different galaxy than the one that had existed 24 hours ago. The Dominion Alliance is in chaos, reported Commander Mitchell. Their fleets are scattered, their leadership is in panic, and their subject species are beginning to question whether the Alliance can protect them. Admiral Webb nodded grimly. The galaxy thought humanity was weak because we chose to avoid conflict. They mistook patience for cowardice, preparation for hiding. Now they know the truth. Elena looked at the tactical display showing the positions of the 15 Titan ships. Each one was a world unto itself, capable of supporting millions of people and manufacturing entire fleets of conventional warships. Humanity had spent 3 centuries building these weapons in secret, and in a single day they had transformed the balance of power in the galaxy. "What happens now, Admiral?" Elena asked. "Now we rebuild the galaxy according to human principles," Webb replied. "The age of alien dominance is over. From this day forward, humanity will be the peacekeeping force in this region of space." Elena nodded, understanding the magnitude of what had just occurred. The sleeping giants had awakened, and they would not go back to sleep. Humanity had revealed its true strength, and the galaxy would never again underestimate the quiet species from a small blue world orbiting an ordinary yellow star. The Dominion Alliance would spend the next several months trying to understand what had happened to their invasion fleets. They would send scout ships to observe the mysterious planet ships from a safe distance, and they would study the wreckage of their most powerful warships. But no amount of investigation would change the fundamental fact that had emerged from the conflict. Humanity was no longer the galaxy's underdog. They were its new masters, and the stars themselves would tremble at their approach. Asterisk.